man, listen, man, we celebrate Black History every single day. We got a special guest. I feel important right now, HB. We sat down with a few special people in our careers, but this is really special to me. My family comes from a history of attending HBCUs.
Right.
My grandmother, she went to Southern. My cousin Nia, she went to Grambling. My cousin Shamont, he went to Morris Brown. And my great grandfather went to school in Tuskegee. So I got this whole history of folks that went to HBCUs. Unfortunately, I went to Hip Hop University, and that's how I ended up here. You went to Hip Hop University too?
Yes.
And we've been seeing a lot of attention, rightfully so, being given to HBCUs. Even here at SiriusXM, we got an HBCU channel that's dedicated to HBCUs, Channel 142. If you ever want to check out what we're doing with Channel 142, that's purely dedicated to HBCUs. And Kelly Kincaid, our supervising producer, boy, if there's anybody that ever waves a flag for Jackson State University, they don't wave it quite like she does. I mean, you cannot mention any other marching band in the sonic boom of the South. Otherwise, you're going to get into an incredible debate. When Coach Prime decided to go over there, who's also a citizen of Sway in the Morning, I think she might have sent them some champagne and said you made the right choice. I mean, so many different people are now looking at Jackson State University, rightfully so. Even Travis Hunter, the #1 high school recruit, chose to attend Jackson State University, and what a lift that was, putting the spotlight on HBCUs. And today, I've been saying it all day, man, we got the president of Jackson State University, the one and only Thomas Hudson. Hold up, Dr. Thomas Hudson is with us today, man. Hey, my brother, how you feel? How you feel this morning?
I'm feeling great, and look, thanks for that introduction. I hope my mom was listening. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to have you on, and Kelly was telling me about the student ambassador program that Fedex is partnering with Jackson State University. Now, I wanted our citizens, because we got a lot of, college-age people that tune into our show, and then we got a lot of parents who kids are trying to choose where to go to school. And we always push HBCUs for a number of reasons, but can you break down this student ambassador program that you guys are involved with?
Absolutely. And look, I appreciate the opportunity to come on this show, and I appreciate you using your platform in such a positive way to highlight HBCUs, and in this case, Jackson State in particular. But, the Student Ambassador Program is part of our partnership with FedEx, and it's really part of FedEx's overall commitment to HBCUs. They have a partnership with about 8 HBCUs. They chose 2 students from each HBCU to be a part of a student ambassador program, provides them entree really into the corporate world. Just this week, one of the representatives, one of our ambassadors, was able to accompany myself along with the other presidents to the New York Stock Exchange to participate in the bell ringing. And how cool is that for a student, a business major, to literally go on to the New York Stock Exchange, go on the trading floor, and really participate in that type of event, interact with corporate VPs, corporate titans, ride the FedEx corporate jet to New York. That was just a wonderful experience. And it's really indicative of FedEx commitment to HBCUs, and certainly their partnership with Jackson State in particular, and really that increased engagement you're seeing with HBCUs. And kind of to go to your point when you're talking about how do you encourage and how do you make the sale to the parents, right? How do you convince parents? And one of the reasons I'm happy that I'm in this market today is because when you talk about affordability and access, the ability to access a high quality education at a price that doesn't leave you drowning in debt, and offers you the same type of corporate partnerships, those corporate engagements, those things that will really help take you to your next level, the internships, job placement opportunities. And you can do that right at an HBCU in a place that's built for you and your culture and that nurturing environment. So, it just captures really why you should choose JSU. Of course, I'm always going to ride for JSU first. I'm like Kelly in that respect, but really why you should really look at HBCUs and the value and the importance of HBCUs.
Dr. Thomas Hudson, it says, well done, man. I know FedEx, they're actually pledging $5 million in donations, right?
Yes.
They're going to put at least $5 million behind this program. $5 million is, it's a big number, but then again, it's not. What can you do with 5 million? Tell folks why it's beneficial.
Well, it's beneficial because it allows you to increase your capacity. So if you're
Okay.
talking about programming for your students, a lot of times we talk about internships, but internships have a cost to them and not all of them are paid. So how can we help our students access these opportunities that would otherwise be locked out to them? Well, most universities don't have funding to help students facilitate internships. These dollars help us do that. Also, these dollars help us increase scholarships, gap funding. We know about your top students who have full rides, and those things are great. But what about that student that $500 is the difference between them completing their studies or them having to go home and sit out a semester? And we know that when it comes to retention, students typically leave school for two reasons. One, campus life, but mainly it's because of dollars. It's rarely because of our students can't keep up academically. It's almost never that reason. It's usually because of financial reasons. And sometimes, Sway, you will be shocked at how little it would take to help our students stay in school. So applying this money for what we call gap funding, we have a gap scholarship fund. And what it does is help us meet your need. And then you look at areas like faculty development. We talk about our students and that wonderful product, but who's teaching them? And how do we continue to promote, develop, and bring on excellent faculty that'll help teach those students and help produce even more of what these corporations are looking for? One of the things I always ask when I meet with any corporate entity, how can we help you reach your programmatic goals? We know what JSU's goals are, but what are some of your programmatic goals? What are you looking for? Engineers? You looking for more business management majors? How can we help you meet your programmatic goals? And how can we partner and align in that effort?
And we got the president of Jackson State University here, Heather. Come on, Dr. Thomas Hudson. And people, listen, I'm opening up these phone lines, 888-742-3345. Like, a lot of folks don't know what HBCU stand for, and so it's great that we have somebody here to break this down. And Heather, what college did you choose?
Okay, I chose a Jesuit institution, and no disrespect to the HBCUs, but I wanted to stay very close to New York City. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, so it was career-based in that sense. I wanted to be someplace where I could really easily get back and forth to New York City because I was chasing music and hip-hop so much. But Dr. Hudson, thank you so much for joining us today, and the timing couldn't be more perfect with everything for me. Sway and I think a lot of us are from the generation of, get your education. Don't worry about sports. Don't worry about anything else. That's the one thing they can never take away from you. But obviously, sports has become such a big thing. And the timing now, Sway mentioned Coach Prime, who's a citizen swaying him, and all the attention he has brought to Jackson State in particular, being there on those sidelines. And I would say mentoring those young men as well, and not just being a football coach, but being that big brother, that father figure to a degree. So when you fast forward now with some of them possibly having goals to the NFL, for the NFL, and Coach Prime coming from there, and all the things that's coming out now with the NFL and the hiring tactics and everything, has some of that been part of you guys' conversation yet? Is that kind of like something y'all been talking about with the news that just broke recently with Brian Flores?
Well, you know what? That's always it's always in the backdrop of what's going on. In terms of our positioning, the HBCU's positioning in the world of sports and of college athletics for far too long. Look, you have talented student athletes. Jackson State has 4 Hall of Famers, more than any other institution in the state of Mississippi. Wow. And really more than a lot of PWIs, right? And so, when you look at how long HBCUs have been overlooked, and then you look at what Coach Prime brings to the table, shining a spotlight on the talent that was already there first and foremost, and then bringing on more talent, increasing the profile of Jackson State, and that's bleeding over, as you can see, into other HBCUs. It's really having a positive impact on college football in general. Good. It's richer, and that's one thing we have to make sure, diversity being America's superpower. College football is richer. HBCUs are a main part of the conversation. When we're ignored, you're missing so much in terms of the culture, the pageantry, the on-game experience. You're missing so much of that when you don't make HBCUs a part of the conversation. So what Coach Prime is doing is really reintroducing HBCUs to the part of the mainstream conversation. So when you turn on Sports Illustrated, ESPN, you go on Sports Illustrated, you're seeing us, and you're seeing us not as a sideshow, not in the background, but you're seeing us first and foremost opening up the door for those student athletes in particular, and also at other HBCUs.
I want to ask you, because you mentioned the PWIs, and you graduated your undergrad. You went to the University of Mississippi.
No, actually, Jackson State. Yeah, don't.
Oh, you went to Jackson State.
Get it right, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my bad.
How dare you, Doctor? How dare you, Sway?
But no, look,
bad.
you got it partial. I did get my law degree from the University of Mississippi School of Law.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Don't play me out, Doc. Don't play me out like that.
No.
I knew it was in your repertoire.
It's on the resume. It's a wonderful experience in Oxford. But look, I bleed blue and white. JSU grad, grew up around the school. JSU has been a part of my entire life. So yes, very, very proud of my JSU roots.
Okay, so can you talk about the differences between HBCU and the PWI that you from your own personal experiences?
Well, and let me couch this by saying, obviously, all schools are different. Every experience is going to be different. So I don't pretend to know what's best for each and every individual. I will say that HBCUs were created for us. They were created as a safe haven for African Americans to get educated. Now, obviously, our doors are open to all. One of the things I'm doing here is, after I leave this, I'm going to Connecticut to a community college to do an MOU signing to help that pipeline of students access that affordable, great JSU education that I was talking about earlier. But really, HBCUs were created for us. The culture, the nurturing, the environment, it was created with African Americans, us in mind, and really those of a lower economic demographic in mind. You don't necessarily see that at most of your PWIs. Okay, not to say those aren't great schools to attend, not to say that they don't do things and try to intentionally bring others into the fold, but it's a lot different when it was created with you in mind. The culture is you, not for you, but it is you. And you really feel that. And also that sense of leadership and that sense of confidence. There's a sense of confidence that you gain unknowingly, even when you see us in leadership. When you look at the president, it's an African-American male that has a very similar background to you. And when you look at your professors, if you're, whether it's chemistry, biology, whether it's English, public health, business, these are people who have succeeded in the field who look like you and are showing you real life, day-to-day examples of what you can become. And when we bring our alumni back, and when you see our successful alumni, 50,000 strong, doing all these great things, these are people that look just like you, have similar backgrounds as you. You can't put a price on that. And that is something that you really only get to experience at an HBCU. So again, I always tell everybody, you go to the college that's best for you. You certainly go for the situation that works for you. Everyone's experience is going to be different. But when you talk about HBCUs, you just cannot ignore those factors I just named.
Dr. Thomas Hudson, we got the president here with us, HB. When you talk about the successes of the prominent alumni, can you drop some names? Is that possible?
I can. Hey, look, I can drop a few names. We're here in New York, so I have to mention our music mogul Cortez Bryant, who's doing great things and actually teaches a course. Managed Drake, Lil Wayne, and actually teaches a course at Jackson State University. Very well attended, does well. I have to talk about my mentor, Dr. Rob Page, former Secretary of Education. JSU graduate as well. I have to talk about our alumni president, Dr. Alexia Norwood, a prominent doctor, Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, Michigan. And again, just so many others. I could go down a list, but we have a rich history of JSU alumni, 50,000 strong. It's interesting. I had dinner last night with Kelly and some of our other alumni here. And, all New York residents who are JSU alums, here doing great things in all types of industry, really achieving their dreams. These are names that you may not know, but they've all been able to take who they were and become who they were meant to be from and with their JSU education. So again, I would love to run down the whole list, but I think that would take the entire show. So.
Oh, wow. That's a stunt right there, Dr. Thomas Hudson. We got a lot of people on the phone lines. I want to talk to them. I also want to talk about curriculum at Jackson State University. I know a lot of new programs are created because of economics and social and sometimes demographic trends. So are there any new degree programs that you guys are currently offering?
Well, we have, we offer a comprehensive curriculum spread about 5 colleges, engineering, technology, of course, liberal arts, education, public health, business. We are looking at rolling out a couple of new programs, actually. Supply chain management is a program we're looking to roll out this coming fall 2022, and really looking to meet the needs. When you look at where Jackson, Mississippi in particular is situated, kind of at that intersection of the South, I-20, I-55, and for those who are familiar with the Southeast, the importance of those two interstates, and Jackson State sits at that intersection. So certainly we can become a leader in terms of equity in supply chain management. Same thing with construction. We have there's a building boom going on in the United States with infrastructure, a lot of different things happening. What is our place in that? What is the place of the African-American businessman in the area of construction? And how can Jackson State help meet that need by offering the programs and offering the curriculum that allow students to access those types of fields, those lucrative fields, and become those entrepreneurs and become some of those names that you hear me mention at later times. So again, we're doing a lot of different things. Public health, we were heavy in our COVID response, had partnerships with the CDC in terms of really bringing out and helping distill that misinformation that you were seeing at the very early stages of COVID. Jackson State was at the forefront of just putting that aside and really helping our community get access to the right information and make the type of choices, the type of healthy choices that help us survive this pandemic. So you'll see more and more of that. We're always evolving as it relates to our curriculum, as it relates to our program of study, building on that solid foundation that's been laid for 144 years, but also meeting the needs of today.
Dr. Hudson, I wanted to ask, just in your opinion, how long does it take for a freshman student to adjust? Like, say a kid like myself, when I was coming out of high school, a Black female, I heard of these HBCUs, I would see Howard and all the different bands and stuff but I would always think, like, I'm from the New York, New Jersey area. I don't want to go to Mississippi. I don't want to go to this is culture shock for me, and I'm Black. Like, how long does it take for a kid to adjust? Because people have these ideas of what the South may be like or what this may be like. Do a lot of kids return because they just can't deal with it? Because if I was in the car listening right now, I would say I want to go there, but it could be difficult to make that jump from New York to Mississippi.
Yeah, look, sometimes it can be difficult to make the jump from Jackson to Jackson when it comes to being from college, when you're going from high school to college. But your point, that's right on point. And it was part of, we had an interesting conversation last night about that, like the culture shock, of course, of coming from New York to Mississippi. One of the things that helps is that when you get there, you will very likely find someone who is from your area and has a similar background. There is no specific mold. You will find all types of backgrounds, all types of regions. So coming from New York, there are other New Yorkers at Jackson State University. And one of the reasons we're doing the MOU signing and we're really trying to increase our recruiting footprint is because we don't want just one. I don't want just one Heather coming from New York, from Brooklyn. We want several of you to come. We want to be able to offer that great education to a number of New Yorkers, to a number of Californians, wherever we may be. So what you'll find first and foremost is that you're not alone, okay? And second, college, I can't think of a better place to make those lifelong friends and lifelong connections than college. You will be surprised at how many people you will meet during orientation for the first time. And those are really your partners, your buddies that'll carry you through help carry through the next 4 years. So again, I understand that concern. Everyone gets homesick. Everyone has to experience some level of culture shock, even if it's just being away from home for the first time, wherever you're from, dealing with different studies and things like that. But if you stick it out, get through those first couple of weeks, make your friends, you'll find that you'll have a successful transition into college life.